It was meant to be a simple weekend get-together, friends chatting, soft music drifting through the room, glasses clinking in celebration. I'd been excited all week, imagining an evening of lighthearted fun with my wife, Laura, and my closest friend, Jason. But the moment I stepped inside, something in the atmosphere felt strange, as if the air had thickened around me. Then I saw it. Laura laughing, her fingers grazing Jason's arm, her gaze lingering on him far too long. And before I fully processed what I was seeing, she leaned in and kissed him. Not a quick, harmless kiss, no. It was slow, intentional, and it stopped everything inside me. The world kept moving for everyone else, but I felt frozen, unable to breathe or speak. My heart pounded, my hands trembled, but I stayed still. They kept laughing together, completely oblivious, or maybe entirely indifferent, to the blow they had just dealt me.
It wasn't just the act.
It was the casualness, the small, smug smiles, the unspoken message that my feelings didn't matter. My fists tensed, but I forced myself to remain composed. I knew that whatever I did next would change everything. My fingers instinctively went to my wedding ring, the symbol of the life we had built, the promises that had once meant everything. Slowly, I slid it off. It felt heavier than it should have, as though the betrayal itself had sunk into the metal. I walked toward the table where our champagne glasses sparkled under dim lights. Every step was measured, controlled. I wanted them to understand exactly what they had done, without a single word from me. The moment the ring hit the tabletop, the sharp metallic sound cut through the room like a blade. Laura froze. Jason's expression twisted, the smugness evaporating instantly. The laughter around us quieted as people sensed a shift, though they didn't yet know why. I still didn't speak. I didn't need to. The silence carried what words couldn't: my anger, my hurt, the months of ignored signals and excuses. I watched them struggle to speak, their guilt nearly visible in the air between us. Breathing deeply, I turned and walked toward the exit, each step steady and deliberate. My actions said everything. This was over. I refused to stand there and be part of their deception any longer. I heard Laura call out my name, her voice trembling with fear and regret. Jason muttered something useless behind her, but their attempts meant nothing now. The balance had shifted and they knew it. Outside, the night air hit me, sharp and refreshing. The adrenaline slowly faded, replaced by a calmness I hadn't felt in a long time. I hadn't shouted, hadn't made a scene. I didn't need to. I had acted with clarity, and that was enough. For the first time in months, I felt free. Free from the illusion I'd been trying to hold together. Driving home, memories flooded me. The promises, the conversations, the laughter that once felt genuine. But a single choice, a deliberate betrayal, had overshadowed it all. And yet I didn't feel broken. I felt strangely empowered. The next day, Laura called repeatedly, her messages filled with crying, explanations, desperate apologies. Jason texted nonstop, trying to salvage the scraps of his conscience. I remained silent. Their frantic attempts only reinforced something important. I had taken back control. My silence spoke louder than any confrontation ever could. That evening, Laura showed up at my door, tears streaking her face, clothes wrinkled, her voice trembling. She confessed everything, every secret conversation, every inappropriate moment, every lie. She stood there unraveling, and still, I didn't raise my voice. Finally, she asked the question that had been eating at her. "Why did you just take off your ring and leave?" I looked at her calmly and said, "Because you stopped caring about how I felt long before last night. You didn't need my voice to hear the truth." The realization hit her like a collapse. She understood then that whatever power she thought she held had vanished. Nothing she said could undo the consequences of her choices. Later, sitting alone in my quiet living room, I finally allowed myself to breathe again. I hadn't engaged in chaos or anger. I had walked away with my dignity intact. The shock and shame of that night would haunt them, not me. I glanced at the empty space on my finger and felt a quiet, resolute satisfaction. I had walked away with my self-respect, and I had left them standing in the ruins of their own decisions, frozen, exposed, and forever changed.